Hello friends, ZenKahuna here, wooden club there. I turned this one today, just finished it. It is made from catalpa, 8.5 pounds overall. It's got a long handle so you can do two-handed grip on it, or one-handed, or just choke up on it to make it a little easier if you're doing one-handed. It's got a moderately thick handle and it needs oil. So let's face it, right now it is a very, very dry piece of wood, which is exactly what I want when I turn a club. The less moisture, the better. This was 7% moisture, as opposed to some of the ones I've gotten from India that are above 30%. So this guy is going to stay right about the same weight for years and not drop even an ounce. What we're going to use is, it's called Real Milk Paint. Actually, that's the name of the company. We're going to use their Dark Half Tung Oil, T-U-N-G. Information's down in the description. We're also going to need just a little container and a brush, or you can use a rag, whichever you like, and you'll need some sort of lint-free cloth. So it's pretty straightforward, no rocket science involved here. I always shake it up very well because this is pure tung oil cut with citrusol, and then it's got the dark resin in it. So I like to make sure that's mixed. I'm just gonna pour in a bit. I recap. And let's get to it. So, I start just below the handle and take a look at how this begins to change the look of the club. Now, the pure tung oil, not the stuff you get in hardware stores, but the real true and pure tung oil provides a wonderful seal against the weather. It's all natural. Gives water protection. And you can see that the wood, being so dry, just soaks up this initial coat. Now once I put on a coat, what I like to do is leave it for about, at least 6 or 12 hours, just to get a bit of a cure started, and then go ahead and use another coat. I find with nice dry wood like this, I'll usually use somewhere between 2 and 3 coats. Naturally, I wipe it down in between. I'll leave this as is for about 30 minutes after I'm done, and then I'll wipe it down with a lint-free cloth. And in case you were wondering, yes, I do the bottom. So, then we're going to start on the handle. And the nice thing about wood is that every club that you make, or god, or whatever you make, even if it's from the same tree, is going to have its own unique characteristics. So it's always an exploration, it's a discovery to find out how every club's going to turn out, how it's going to take to the lathe, how it's going to, will it have any splits or cracks in it? how will it accept the oil or absorb the oil. So that's pretty much all there is to it. After I've done the initial coat, I'm going to take a look at it, make sure there's no missed spots. And then I'm going to leave this for about 30 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. And then come back and I'll wipe it down. So what you're looking at now, this is one that I have 3 coats of oil on. You can see that it's got a little bit darker tone to it. I'll wait another 24, maybe even 48 hours before I put another coat on that. This one, even though I just did it 35 minutes ago, already has absorbed most everything. So what I'm going to do, just go in and wipe it down. I said I wait hours, but actually it's very hot today. It's 100 degrees, so 100 degrees and dry. After the first coat, I'm going to go ahead and put on a second coat right away. Then I'll let that sit at least overnight, and maybe even sit for a full 24 hours. We'll just see what turns out. So it's ready for its second coat. So I'm not going to bore you with watching me paint on or sponge on another coat, but suffice it to say that's what I'm going to do. Then I'll let it sit, then I'll buff it just with a dry cloth, and then put another 1, 2, 3, however many coats additional I need, so that it feels like it's really got something going on. And the nice thing about the dark half tung oil is that it absorbs deeply into the wood, actually becomes like a part of the wood. So it's an excellent, excellent oil to use. So I'm going to go ahead and take a few minutes to let that dry, just the initial 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'll go ahead and put a second coat on. In the meantime, stay with me because I'm going to show you what happens next. All right, so I let this dry. I gave it actually 2 days to dry. What I did then was take just a fine piece of sandpaper, and this was about a 300 grit, and lightly sanded the whole club, especially focusing on the handle and the pommel up here, but everywhere. And dusted it off, cleaned it up nice, and then did another coat. So right now, I'll let this go another probably 2 days, and then another light sanding, just very, very light, just to take the hairs that come up after your oil, to take them down, and then I'll do one more coat. So as you can see, it's already taking on some nice color, and it is bringing out the grain of the wood very beautifully. So make your own clubs, or take the clubs you have and oil them up with the tung, and what that does is it makes them very resistant to any kind of water. And I train outside all the time, so wet grass, down by the river, the ocean, salt air, so on and so forth. The tung oil really protects my clubs beautifully. So that's all it takes. It's not a big deal really to get your clubs oiled and maintained well. By the way, I have a number of antique clubs, and I use the tung oil to restore them, and it really has made a difference. And even though a couple of them have some big cracks in them, no big deal at all. I mean, the wood's just, it's solid, it feels good, and I use them regularly. So I can't rave enough about the pure tung oil from the Whole Milk Company, paint company. Very excellent. Make it a great day. Enjoy your clubs.